What's going on, guys? It's UrAvgConsumer, and today we're going to be checking out these guys over here, the brand new Microsoft Surface Headphones 2. Now, you can tell these are the new ones because of the color, but we're going to be going over all of the cool things that you need to know about these guys before you pull the trigger. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the design of these headphones. Now, personally, I think these are a pretty good looking pair of headphones. I've definitely worn far worse looking headphones just based on sound quality, but these look pretty good. I do think they look leagues better than the gray counterpart. I think the black really helps it to look a bit more low profile. The gray ones, I feel like they stood out a little bit. You have pretty sizable ear cushions on these guys, so when you're wearing them, you know, they might be a bit noticeable if they're in that lighter shade of gray. But as black, I feel like they look clean. It's got a really minimal looking design, not a ton of buttons all over the place like we usually see with Bluetooth headphones. And what really helps with that is the fact that Microsoft designed this really interesting mechanism with these rings around both ear cups where you can control different things like volume and the active noise canceling, as well as the ambient mode. So you're not stuck with a bunch of buttons that you have to press. And honestly, I just think it's a really intuitive design to just bring your volume up and... Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's that auto play feature. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's got a really intuitive design with these rings. These rings just make it so easy to control your volume. Usually you have to go hunting on the back of the headphones like, okay, this is the button to press to bring up the volume. You kind of click it over. No, there's none of that here. You just hit the ring, get that volume up and down, you get it to that exact volume that you want. And over here, you can control the active noise canceling. If you really want to tone it down so that you can hear what's going on around you, you just turn it down, and the opposite will bring, of course, the active noise canceling up so that you can tune things out. So for me, I personally really like the rings. These are the only headphones that I know have these features on a ring, so I think that's really cool, and it's just really intuitive. Now, another thing about the design is that these are obviously over-ear headphones, so they'll go completely around the ears, they'll completely encase it. They're not foldable headphones. What they do is they'll swivel the ear cup so that they can be pretty much laid down flat. And when you lay them down like this, it makes storing them pretty easy, but you're not gonna be able to fold them up like something like these Sonys over here that you can just kind of do this. Now, back in the day, that would be a knock for me, but that's not really the case anymore because being able to have them down flat, throwing them inside of something like their case, and then putting them in your backpack is just really easy experience. And it does come with a nice hard shell case. And you're throwing this in your backpack with no problem. It's gonna lay flat just like your computer would or something inside of there. And while we're on the accessories, you get the case as well as a USB-C cable and a 3.5mm cable that's inside of here. So in case you wanna plug it into your computer or something, you have the ability to do that. Jay, what you think? How do you think these look? Honest opinion.
Better than the first pair.
You like the black, it makes a difference, right?
Of course, the black.
Yeah, there you go. And not only do I think these look good, but they're actually pretty comfortable as well. But I will say this, compared to a lot of the headphones that I've been using recently, like the Sony WH-1000X Mark IIIs, and even the Bose 700 noise canceling headphones, I think that's what they call it. Those have less clamping force than this. So when you're putting it on your head, these have like a more snug feeling. They feel a bit more secure. But I don't think that's really a problem, because if I were to go for something like these guys over here, the Sonys, when I throw them on, they're not tight feeling. They just feel like, you know, they're just on. Like if I were to compare them to the Surface headphones, they do feel like a little bit loose, but you know, I wouldn't worry about these falling off or anything, but the comfort that you get out of these and the secure feeling, it's just kind of nice. But these do have really plush ear cushions. So it's not gonna feel like any crazy pressure. It's not gonna lead to ear fatigue. So for me personally, I like that I'm able to wear these for hours on end, and I like the fact that it has like a snug feel when I wear them, because when I'm out and about and I'm moving around, I don't want my headphones to feel like they're gonna slip off if I, you know, do a crazy movement or something, you know, if I just gotta dodge some haters real quick. But no, all jokes aside, it does feel better to have that snug feel. All right, y'all, so we talked about the design, the comfort, all the physical things when it comes to these headphones, and we did touch on the rings where you can control the volume as well as the active noise canceling. And that's the thing I wanna talk about next, the features. So active noise canceling is of course gonna be one of the biggest features on this because it has like 13 different stages of active noise canceling. And I gotta say, it's really nice to have that kind of control over your active noise canceling, because sometimes the active noise canceling can be a bit much and you might not want to completely drown out everything, but with this you have the ability to control just how much you block out. I like that you have this ability. I will say though, the active noise canceling isn't as great as those two guys over there. So I have the Sony's and the Bose 700 headphones. The active noise canceling works fine, but it's not on that level, I will say. But if you don't have experience with those and you're using the active noise canceling from this, you're probably gonna be just fine. It's going to block out what you need it to. So as we've been seeing with Bluetooth headphones that have active noise canceling, you get this ambient mode where you're able to kind of hear the things around you, which is super useful, where especially if you're home and you want to listen to music, but you've got a wife like Ari who's calling your name every 2 seconds and you don't want to miss that call. You're able to hear those things around you. I think it's kind of nice, especially if you're like jogging or something. There's a lot of use cases for it that just, it's a really nice feature to have. Now, this also has that feature. It's not the best that I've heard, I'll be honest. It definitely works. When I have it on, I can hear like Jay speaking to me. I can hear things going on in the room, but it sounds a bit muddy, I guess. It still gets the job done, but it does change how you hear things. It's a little weird. Now, like any Bluetooth headphone in 2020, of course, this thing has a companion app. So of course, when you jump into the app, you can of course see the headphones that you have paired. You can see what kind of noise canceling mode you've got, how much battery life, as well as the volume. So you got all that information right there on the front view. And one thing that I do like about these headphones is when you first turn them on, that battery indicator will let you know verbally just how much battery you've got left. So even if you're not using the app, as soon as you turn these on, it'll tell you you've got 8 hours of battery life. So this is where you go to just get a quick look at the information. Honestly, it's not something that you'll ever really need to use, but where the magic is when you go inside the settings. Now, there's just a bunch of stuff here that you don't really need, but what really is important here, guys, and don't judge me for my battery life, I need to charge my phone. But the important thing here is, guys, the equalizer. So we'll talk about sound quality, of course, but what I like about this equalizer is that, one, it's really simple. You can have equalizers that have tons and tons of these bars, and you can fine tune the heck out of your headphones. But these, I feel like, are a lot more impactful than you typically see with headphones. So if I go on the low end, boom, I'm adding a lot more punch. If I go over here, those vocals are gonna get changed immediately. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Judd, you're just messing with the EQ settings. But what I noticed with these headphones is that every change that you make on these has a direct impact, or can I say a more noticeable impact. And believe me when I say this, guys, because I would never call out the equalizer as something that you should pay attention to, but I feel like this one really makes a difference. And I also want to touch on this one section, the paired devices area, where you can pair a ton of devices to these headphones, and you can just go in here and change which ones are connected to it. And honestly, using this thing with multiple devices is an awesome experience. Now, something I really like about these headphones is how it works seamlessly between like a computer and a phone. So let's say I'm on my computer, I'm watching an Apex Legends video or whatever, and then I get a phone call. I can easily answer the call with my headphones. It'll automatically pause whatever I'm listening to or playing on my computer and just switch right into the audio from the phone call. That is dope. And as soon as I get off the call, it automatically puts me back into whatever I was doing on the computer. It's not something we get with a lot of devices. Usually you can pair like 2 devices to a pair of Bluetooth headphones if it supports it, but you don't get that kind of functionality out of it where it just works really well together, and you get that with these headphones. And let me show you guys just how seamless of an experience it is to go from one audio device to another audio device when they're both connected. So on my phone, I'll play some music right here. I'll even play it on my computer right now. They're both playing. Pause on my phone. It's super fast. So it's like the connection, both are active, but whatever you do last, like whatever you play last is what's going to pretty much be the top dog in terms of the rankings of which audio is actually playing. It's nice to be able to not have to unpair something and pair it to something else to kind of switch over and take a phone call or anything. It's just a really, really nice experience, and that's really underrated. Not to mention, it auto pauses. Am I screaming? Not to mention, it auto pauses once you take them off your head. So if someone comes over and starts talking to you, you take them off, it'll auto pause. Once they leave, you put them back on. Now, I've been talking about playing music and equalizer settings, so it's time we talk about how they actually sound. And personally, I think they sound pretty good. I think anybody who, I'm not talking about audiophiles, I'm talking about the average consumer, who goes and picks these up, you're gonna get bass, you're gonna get clear vocals, you're gonna get all the kind of things that you're looking for. And something about these headphones is that they can get pretty loud. So you're gonna be able to hear a bit more. You don't have to tune these all the way up to 100. Those two guys over there, the Sonys and the Bose, I pretty much have them close to 100 to really be able to hear everything I want to hear out of them. This, not so much. This sounds substantially louder than those two. Now, I'm not saying these sound better than those two. I do like the Sonys in terms of sound quality a bit more, but where I think this thing has an advantage is, like I said before, with those equalizer settings, let's say I wanted to add a little bit more bass, I can literally turn up one slider, just pump it up a little bit, and I get that instant impact. I get exactly what I'm looking for. But let's just say you're the regular person, you don't have time to mess around with any EQ settings, you don't even know what that is. You're still gonna be pretty happy with these. So I will say, right out of the box, I think they sound fine. I think anybody will be pretty happy. You mess around with those EQ settings and you're taking it to the next level. And I'm just glad that these are capable of having that wiggle room for you to move around the sound quality. I'm pretty impressed with what you're able to get out of these. And of course, the last thing we gotta talk about is the battery life. Now, these are rated for about 20 hours of listening, which honestly isn't the best in its class. A lot of these headphones these days are hitting that 30-hour mark, but it also does have a fast charging feature. It uses USB Type-C. Once you plug it in for about 5 minutes, you get about an hour of listening. Now, the question is, do I recommend these headphones? Absolutely. Now, the ambient noise mode isn't that great. It works, but it's not that great. Active noise canceling, I think, is fine. I think the overall design is great. These are solid looking pair of headphones. I love what you're able to do with the sound, and I love the way that it works between multiple devices. And this thing is now cheaper than the original Surface headphones. Now you'll find these for $250, which is $100 less than it used to be, and that's pretty substantial. At $250, I feel pretty confident in being able to recommend these. Now, of course, this isn't going to be something that you'll replace your Sonys with. Those Sonys are definitely a bit higher end than these guys over here. But if you're not trying to make that jump, I think you'll be really, really happy with these. But I wanna know what you guys think. Do you think the overall black design kind of makes this thing a front runner for you? Do you like the features? Let me know with a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, be the cool guy or girl that gives it a thumbs up. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace.